Hey, how's it going everyone? I'm Keith from Heaven Mental Art. In this video, I'll be going through the process of painting and building my very first custom PC. This is probably my favorite project I've worked on recently. It's very satisfying once completed, but also very time consuming. I hope you enjoyed the video and make sure to subscribe and drop a like. I used a site called PC Part Picker to make sure all my computer parts were compatible within my budget. Once they were all shipped out, I took off the back panel and the front glass panel. Before I started painting the back panel, I used a universal primer from Montana Spray Paints. Before actually painting, I gave it about 2 layers of the primer before laying down the background color. For the background color, I'm using Montana Spray Paint again. The color I chose for the background was called Electric Blue. I've used these spray paints in a few different projects. They're available in a lot of different vibrant colors and they go down really smooth and has like a matte finish. Great spray paints for large scale murals or even smaller projects like painting a PC or painting wooden canvases or skateboards. So I did about 2 to 3 layers of the background color, letting it dry about 30 minutes in between coats. It gave it a nice smooth finish for me to paint on. Over in Photoshop, I started on a digital sketch I had in mind for the design that I'll be painting onto the PC. I do this with a lot of my designs, do a quick digital concept or sketch on paper. It helps to get the ideas out. Sometimes the designs turn out a completely different way that I had in mind, but the initial concept phase and just sketching down ideas definitely helps with getting the idea to flow. For the painting of the back panel, I wanted to make a design representing humans merging with technology to form some sort of hybrid human, but also make it cool looking because I also wanted to use this design to make into a shirt as well. Here is the finished rough digital sketch with basic colors that I had in mind for the design. Once I'm finished with this phase, I then bring it over into Procreate and get started on the line work and colors. Starting on the line work in Procreate, this is probably one of my favorite parts of making a design is the line work phase. For me, it's very therapeutic. Once I get the line work done, I then start adding in the flat color layers and then onto the details. Once the design was fully finished, I took the line work and mocked it up to be printed out so the design can then be traced onto the back panel so I can start painting. getting the design onto the back panel, I used a white transfer paper that you put under your design, and then using a ballpoint pen, I started tracing the design, and then the white transfer paper would transfer the design onto the panel. The design went down really light using the transfer paper, so I went back over the design with a white pencil. Before starting the painting process, I gave the panel a layer of matte medium. This is a good way to seal in the design so you don't accidentally smudge anything, and it also gives it a smoother surface to paint on. Finally, I can start painting. The paints I'm using are called perma acrylic. I've used these paints for a couple of different projects in the past and for murals as well. I've also mixed my own colors. They're available in nice vibrant colors similar to the Montana spray paints, and they also go down really nice and smooth and give a kind of eggshell matte sort of finish. Also, throughout the painting process, to help the paint dry quicker, I use a hairdryer.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy, and silently, it could build and build until you finally see, whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all their shoulders, like moving boulders just to get out of the home. It sucks, I've had enough, I don't wanna feel the stuck under the rug, all my problems that I shove. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough, nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough, nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. It sucks when you finally feel like giving up. Oh God, no luck, everything feels like you're sticky stuck. I'm lost, handcuffed to the bed where I sleep, don't give a fuck. Can't stop, unplug, feeling overwhelmed, I think I've had enough. Gotta find a way to get some energy, gotta find someone who's a good friend of me. I need purpose to make it all worth it, I'm still searching and I'm still learning. I want a life that's filled with memories, not a life with regret in front of me. I need focus to keep me from hopeless psychosis if I keep moping. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough, nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff.
Once I finished painting the design, I gave it about a day or so to fully dry. I then gave it about 2 to 3 coats of an acrylic varnish by Montana spray paint, about 30 minutes in between coats for it to set properly. It gave the painting a nice satin finish. With the back panel fully painted and varnished, I then started on the front glass panel. I made a design for my logo Heavy Mental to put down the bottom of the glass panel. I made a quick stencil cutout to make sure the logo was centered and perfectly aligned. I used POSCA markers to color the logo design. I thought POSCA markers would be better for the glass because I wasn't sure if the other paint would stick on it properly. Once I got the colors and the logo design down, I used a razor blade to clean up the edges of the logo, not pressing too hard to scratch the actual glass. Once I was finished with the logo, I then gave it 2 to 3 coats of the same acrylic varnish that I used for the back panel to seal it in. Once I finished painting the front and back panels, I then got started on actually building the PC. I was following YouTube tutorials and the manuals that came with the parts to make sure I was building the PC the right way. I definitely didn't want to damage any parts. I would have probably screamed because of how expensive some of these parts are. Overall, it took me about 2 to 3 days to fully build the PC. I was taking my time because I didn't want to mess anything up. If you're thinking of custom building your own PC or even painting it, I'd say just go for it. I definitely learned a lot myself by building my own PC, and also very satisfying once it's up and running. So the video you're watching now, I've edited using the new PC. Once I got all the parts installed and everything connected, I then booted up the PC. I was on the BIOS page and I noticed the CPU temperature would instantly rise to 95 and 100 degrees. I'll turn the PC off immediately to stop it from overheating. There's obviously a problem also on the CPU cooler LCD screen. It came up with a red symbol indicating a pump error with the actual cooler itself. I tried a few different things, disconnecting and reconnecting cords, making sure the cooler itself was seated onto the CPU properly. Nothing seemed to work, so it seemed like the pump itself was faulty. So I reached out to Corsair, which is the brand of the CPU liquid cooler, told them about the issue, and they offered to send a replacement out under warranty. Customer service was actually really easy and good to deal with. So within 2 weeks, I had a brand new and updated version of the CPU cooler. Once the new CPU liquid cooler arrived, I then got that installed, booted the PC up, and everything started working fine. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video of painting and building my very first custom PC. This is definitely one of my favorite projects I've worked on, and also the most money I've spent on a project as well. But I finally had the time and the money to do it. It was definitely an intimidating project to work on, but once it was completed, it was so satisfying getting it up and running finally. I thought it'd be a cool little touch adding an eyeball to the CPU cooler LCD screen. I made a quick GIF of an eyeball design I made a couple years ago, so I thought it'd be the perfect addition to bring this PC build all together. I would really appreciate it if you gave this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and also leave a comment of what other projects you think I should work on next. Keep on creating, and I'll see you in the next video.